Vanguardian 650, good morning. You see what's going on. You see what's happening around the world. You see what's happening with ICE in Minnesota. You see what's happening. You see what's happening with Trump and how he's making so much money in his second term in the White House. The numbers bear it out. But you can choose to ignore that. He's made $1.4 billion, $1.7 billion while he's in the White House just in the second term. And his family has made an enormous amount of money. Do research. Read, people. Read what's going on. Get back to reading. Got audio books if you want to do it that way. It's better to read. Because once you might think it's tedious. You might think it's just a daunting task of reading. Believe me, especially the stories, and once the pages would just fly by because you'll be so caught up into the stories, it would draw you in, especially history, particularly Black people's history, ancestors, and the history basically of civilization, the true history, not the whitewashed, the edited, heavy edited, destroyed. You got these gaps, but you have to still connect the dots and put things together. Talking about 6th century, 4th century AD. I mean, it's really crazy how much history, rich history, that the melanated people have. You know what I'm saying? So, but yet we're so hated, yet we're so despised, yet we're so, get so dismissive towards other races, and everybody follows the same thing. They're all sheep. The Asians do it to us. The Asians, they treat us badly. The Arabs treat us badly, which I could never understand because they're a descendant of us, of Africa. You know what I mean? Just like us. I mean, even the African treat us Black Americans with such disdain and such as far as a smugness they have towards us. I'm just being honest. And I've expressed this many times to them, and it's just what it is. They just, they like to laugh, chuckle, or whatever. Oh, no, my brother. It's funny. It's funny though when you catch them, and you just subtly let them know what I'm getting from the vibe that I'm getting from the aura. It amazes me. It really does. People will be people. We're all God's people, children. We all have to work it out. But evil is evil, and you recognize evil just as you recognize righteousness. Evil is really evil, and there are some evil people in this world. Believe me, all the way around the board, and they're detrimental to the world, to this space, to humanity, and they're in positions of power. And you can just see what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Wars here, there. We've been telling you this for 6 years. Now you're saying it. Are you not? Why are everyone so shocked? I've been expressing this for 6 years. I'm no prophet. I could just see what's trending. You know what I mean? You just pick up the data and what's going on. It just wraps up. It goes down a little bit, wraps back up. 6 years ago, we was in the midst of the George Floyd murder. In the aftermath of that. Now ICE is treating the so-called, when we were saying, when some people were saying Black Lives Matter, and everyone else was saying White Lives Matter, all lives matter. Do they? Really? Young women getting gunned down in their cars. Young man in the medical profession getting murked on a sidewalk, on the street in broad daylight, shot 9 times. Another gentleman earlier than that, all by federal agents, because they won't really identify themselves. Got ICE, you have all these Homeland Security. I mean, everyone. So, when you don't recognize the trend, it intensifies and get to a level where people are losing their lives, literally getting shot in the streets. Kind of remind me of Berlin. You know, the history that we was forced to, I wouldn't say forced, but they told us. See, they didn't recognize when the Nazis were in North Africa in that Holocaust. They always recognize, the Jewish Holocaust. But the African Holocaust that continues this day, and then you have allegedly some of the Jewish Israelis that are committing reported Holocausts. You see how it flips? You see how it keeps going? When you don't recognize stuff, you just allow one thing to just go unnoticed, and then you get behind another thing, and that other thing becomes a bigger thing. It becomes a monster within itself, with power, with influence, with a big bad brother that can back them up. And these, look, everyone wants peace. Everyone wants to live in this world without anybody being slain. Like I said, you're still gonna have some evilness, corruption, and all that circulates. But for the most part, I'm not trying to conquer anyone, pillage, and burn down, destroy people's history, culture, and all that. You know what I'm saying? And then when we talk about it, it's always like, go on, you have to move on. Yes, see, that's the problem. You move on and you want to advance to other things. You never actually address the issue at hand, and then it creates itself to be a enormous monster with an appetite for lives, human lives. Getting gunned down in the streets of Minnesota. Getting shot up. A young woman getting shot. Yes, she could have got out the car. I wish she would have got out of the car. You know what I mean? But I think she just kind of wanted to get out of the situation. And unfortunately, the officer that was involved used deadly force. So, and then the young man out there looked like he was restrained. They didn't have to, whatever, but allegedly he had he was legally armed, but I guess once they noticed that he had a gun, it wasn't like, oh, just get the gun. I mean, he was already down. You just shoot him down like a dog. This is where we at in America. This is where we at. This is where we, it's all over the world. So, you have the right, the left, the conservative, the moderate, the extreme leftists. Have I heard anything from the Pope or the religious leaders? I mean, besides them going into the church while they was in worshiping and bombarding them. That was the last debacle that I've seen as far as, so-called religious leaders leading the charge to go into someone else's house of worship and bombard their ceremony. But which was extreme. This is what I'm talking about. It gets extreme. It gets extreme all the time. No decorum, no etiquette. it's just always overstepping in some of the worst way. So people, I suggest that we record, document, make mental notes, and realize that it can just turn in the drop of a hat. So be prepared. If you want to be out there and protesting, do it legally, do it safely, make your point. Don't get in their way, because they are willing to body you right there on the street. Facts. Peace.